I know this is emotional news to hear today. Can you tell me a little bit about what Jane Goodall did mean to you?
You know, Jane Goodall just opened the door to my entire life because when I was a young girl, there were no woman scientist models except Madame Curie,
Hmm.
who I didn't want to be. And so when I saw her on the cover of National Geographic, I realized that all the passions and interests that I had in animals and in protecting animals could be the life of an adult. And so that was absolutely huge. And I have looked to her words for solace and guidance my entire life. So, yeah, it's a huge shock. I know she did talk about death recently, and she said it was her next great adventure. And she's, just that was an earmark of the bravery of this woman. She faced the jungles. She also faced politicians and she faced civil wars. She's just incredibly brave. So I guess I don't really worry about her, but I worry about all the rest of us that are left without her guidance.
What was it about her that people were so drawn to?
I think it was her gentle nature
Hmm.
and the way she explained things, her story. I mean, it's so remarkable. A secretary, of course, she had a long interest, but she was a secretary when she went into the jungles with her mother, which just seemed incredibly brave. And then, she made the huge sacrifice of leaving the jungles so that she could advocate for the animals that she had come to know, the ones you mentioned, Flo and Flint and Fifi, because she knew who they were, and she knew they needed better, and she gave up everything. She traveled relentlessly,
Hmm.
and I think it was personal contact that so many of us had, myself included, that uh, allowed us to understand her message. She really sacrificed for us. And I hope, she's looking down at the millions of people she's inspired and knows that we are a force uh, for good, for protection of this planet. We will carry her work forward.
Can you tell me a bit more about your encounters with her and what those conversations were like?
She got invited to a lunch with the amazing painter, Robert Bateman.
Hmm.
And I wanted so badly to go to the lunch that I wrote to his secretary, and I even said I had good manners. This was decades ago. I just really wanted in. And they invited me. And so I found myself seated across her, and I was able to ask her, do you have hope? And she looked at me in the eye and she said, absolutely, I have hope because of people like yourself. And for me, who was completely unknown and facing, so much negativity for trying to protect salmon, that just kindled a little fire in me that burns to this day. And I am so grateful to her for that. She could have brushed me off, but she didn't. She gave me that warm, direct contact that is so important for people, the many, 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 many people like myself who are struggling against the things that we know are wrong and that feel impossible to change. And I think she made all of us feel that that was possible. And I love her so much. She's been a guiding light. People have compared me to her for a long time, but no, she was a much warmer, kinder, bigger, selfless person than I will ever be. She's remarkable that we got to spend 91 years with her on this planet. And I thank her for that.